There we go. One of the things that I bought on Prime was a fan, and that's why you see it's over here to my right, your left, and you can see my hair blowing in the wind. So it's there for me to actually feel cooler. So hey, it's Friday night. Welcome to Friday night. We are live. We are live. We are live. Okay, so one of the things that I learned is that if I want to sing, I need to come over here and I need to click off this noise suppression, because then I can use the reverb or the chorus, whatever you like to call it, because the noise suppression will make it sound real weird. So it's an extra step I have to take, an extra step I need to remember to do. And then when I get it off, I've got to turn the noise suppression back on. All right, so I turned the noise suppression back on, which is now built into Ecamm. And the reason I'm telling you all this is because I bought a fan, F-A-N, okay, and it's blowing on me. Now, I don't really like it to my side because it's like blowing over here. You can kind of see my hair blowing in the wind, right? So I think I did practice this before, and I got PhotoMater, which is replacing my Lightroom. And I don't know, I might play with that title. So we should be public at this time, and I think we are, okay? And if we're not, people are wondering, where is he? Where did he go? Why is he using the singing mic? All right, so let's see what I got going. So I want to get right into developing a picture on PhotoMater, and the reason for that is I've talked to like 3 or 4 people this week on this program, and I don't feel that I know it well enough, but I'm not bad at it, just in case you're wondering. I actually do okay with it, but I'd like to get a little bit better. So I did have to process a few pictures, and the more you use it, you kind of get loosened up a little bit, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the Christmas desk and go to my desk. And when I go to my desk, I'm going to be able to use PhotoMater and be able to see it better, because the screen from me to where you are, or where I can see you, is far. So it's hard for me to read. What can I tell you? Okay. So let's get this mic. And I didn't really rehearse. Well, actually, I looked at the folder. I guess I'm going to use pictures that I took recently. I want pictures that are people, talking head pictures. And that is what we're going to work on tonight, is talking head pictures. All right? So I'm going to go from here, and I'm going to go to, where am I going to go? Let's go to let's go to the overhead camera, which should give me a black screen. Okay, so now I have a black screen, and I will take myself and the mic over to the desk. Now your screen is okay. I turned the camera off for the moment, but I'll come back in a second. I'm just walking over to the desk, so no sense actually not being able to see what I'm doing. All right, so now I am seated at the desk, and I got the microphone with me. So this is the way I'm going to sound all night. So you'll have to tell me if it's okay or not. So that's, the mic is very close to my head. So now what I'm going to do is let's open up PhotoMaker. It's not PhotoMaker, it's PhotoMater, M-A-T-E-R. All right, so let's open up PhotoMater. There we go, okay. Now, if yours looks a little different to mine, it's because I did change the background to white, where it comes standard black, where they call like, what do they call it, dark mode or something to that effect. So I like to see the edges. So what you're looking at is PhotoMater, and I'm pretty sure you could follow my mouse, right? So if you follow my mouse up here is Files and Photos, okay? So if we go to Photos, you'll start going through all my photos, okay? But that's the way Lightroom also works. However, I go to Files because if you look over on the left, you've got almost like a little bit of a browser setup. Now, how did I get to this? Follow the mouse. Up here where it says Files, I have a choice of Photos or Files. So Files is going to show me the folders. So I have a folder called Pictures Peter Took, all right, and that's a folder. And I have no pictures in that directly in that folder. However, in the next folder down, I have one called 2025 Pictures. And that is because we are in the year 2525. And if man is still alive, okay. So that is basically what we're showing. And let's see if I can get this over here. Okay. So I'm kind of like doing a little bookkeeping in the background. You can kind of see the mouse. All right. So now whenever I take pictures, you have to have a system for your computer. You can't be haphazard. If you wind up being haphazard, you're going to be looking for pictures forever. So I have a folder called Pictures Peter Took, and it's going to be the year 2525. So since we're in July, at some point along the way, I will make a folder called 2026, okay? Now, when I take pictures and I come home, I have what is called an SD card. So I take the pictures, I create a folder, and I start it by date, so that this way, if I need to know the date that I took these pictures, they're kind of like in some kind of an order. So the newest ones are up here, and they work their way backwards. Now, I might be able to, let's see if I have a sort. No. Image, nope. File, nope. Sort, no. And I don't want to sort it anyway. I want the newest ones here. Now, pretty much, I basically just leave, the date there and kind of ignore it. So the reason I ignore the date is it's there for my convenience. So if I want to know when this was taken, you can see my mouse, right? So if I want to know when this was taken, these pictures were taken or uploaded July 4th, okay? And then whatever pictures that I did or do, I put them in the folder. Now, if I need to have more than one folder on July 4th, I make a July 4th, what it is, and then a B, okay? Now, this B technically belongs after July 4th because it would be July 4th A, and it would be Brian, and he bought the white E10. And then it would be July 4th B, Brian, and he bought the white E10. So why is there two of them? I was having a little bit of problems, so I started fresh, but I didn't delete the old one, so I would have that copy available for me. And then before that, we could see anything that I put, I write a date. I write what it is. Like, let's say this is June 10th is when I uploaded these pictures. And now, after the date, I have put what's in here. What is this really all about? So you're seeing the pictures that I took with the blue background, and I use these pictures for the marketplace to put this camera up for sale. All right, so I did the same thing with the black, and here's the black E10, Sony E10, which is a camera. I took some pictures, and these are the pictures that I came up with. Then on the 11th, it doesn't seem like it's in the right order. It looks like it's going up and the other one's going down. But anyway, I can tell the date. But I'm usually going to ignore the date. I'm looking for the birds that I took in the backyard. So these pictures are basically all the pictures that are in this folder. And I can go from folder to folder. And if I do a test, I put this in here, and it winds up being something I can usually delete. So on May the 8th, I took some initial tests with the 70 to 350, and then I took pictures on June the 10th with the ZVE1, which is the ones that I just told you about. All right. So this is June 5th, and this was a card dump. So I call a card dump when I take everything that's on a card and boom, I put it in a folder. Now, if you look at these pictures, or the thumbs of the pictures, you'll be able to recognize that, like, in one area it says raw, all right, and next to it there's nothing, and then there's an empty flag. So if we go up to this one over here, this one is raw. This little icon with two circles or something means that I have actually done processing work to it. And I put a red flag there because for the life of me, I could not figure out after let's say this one, where I have a lot of little pictures here with a red flag, but then there's a lot of them that have no flags. So this one looks processed and these do not. And there's a very simple reason. This one's processed and these are not processed. So it's very simple deduction. This is not rocket science, at least it's not for me. So I can go through here and I can do a number of things. I can do what's called culling, C-U-L-L-I-N-G, which would be a picture that I would want to process. That's the forward way of doing it. So there is a backwards way of doing it, and I happen to do it the backwards way. So the backwards way is in this folder. I would go all the way to the top. I would start at this picture is just like bread. I'd open up that picture. All right. Now, when I open up this picture, I have a different view of how the program is actually working. All right. So this view is giving me a slide strip across the bottom. See my mouse going across the bottom? So this is one picture after the other. So I can go to the next picture just by clicking on it, or I can use the keyboard and just go to the next picture. Now you see how these two, this one, this one, this one, and this one, they all have red flags. So look at the bottom of your screen and you'll see that there's red flags. So I kind of learned from Lewis. Let's go back over here for a quick second. I don't want the circle to be in the bottom. It's just taking up room. And I don't really have a camera on down there, desktop. Let's switch to desktop, no bubble. All right, so now you won't get that circle in the bottom anymore. And then I can come back over to my pictures. All right, so now we're on the same page. So the bubble will disappear in a minute. I turned it off, and you'll get the full screen. So I started to say, I learned from Luis that if you make the whole image a little bit smaller in Ecamm, I can show you because that was one of my fails. If I go up to the top right and I want to show you where it says done or the different icons, that wasn't showing up. And that was because I just let it come in full screen onto Ecamm thinking, hey, doing a good job here. No, I was not doing a good job. So what went wrong is I really needed to make it a little bit smaller so you actually see the blue background of my desktop. All right, so let's get back into PhotoMater. All right, so this is working with a slide strip. The slide strip I find is very powerful because I could take this picture right here and I click on it. If I click on this one, you see how they come up? Now I can right click on this and I can click copy adjustments. Okay, now this is not a for real thing. This is a pretend because I don't know what's going to happen. But you see how the next picture is a fountain and the next one is gobbledygook and it goes on and on. Well, if I click here to here, if I click, I thought I was able to pick more than one picture at a time. And I can because I've done it. I don't think it's in this view though. Okay. So if I go back to the slideshow view, okay, now maybe I won't make a fool out of myself. I'll take this picture here, which has got a red flag, and we just looked at it, right? This one's got a red flag. So this is processed. Can you tell this has got a much better look? So what I did was, let's go back to my everything in my folder, is I right-clicked here, and I'm going to click Copy Adjustments. Now, one of the powers that you get is you can click from here all the way to here, and they'll all light up blue, meaning I have them all selected. Now, if I right-click on this, and I click Paste Adjustments, watch as the computer now pastes the adjustment from this one where I copied it over to these. So if I go over to this, okay, I double click on it, it brings it up full screen. So whatever I did on this picture and this picture, it's too bright for this picture. So what I would do is I would go to where I can make my adjustments, and the same adjustment has been applied to those pictures that I highlighted. But since they're too bright, I can quickly come over here and see the box. It's got 3 lines where my mouse is right now. That is the color editing, or they call it color adjustments. So if I click on it, suddenly I get all of the adjustments that I can make to this picture. They're all right in front of me. So those of you that are just catching up, I'm working in PhotoMater, and we're going to do a little bit of processing tonight. All right, so now I applied the adjustments to all the pictures, and this one's too bright. So if I come over here to the right side and I go to where the adjustment exposure is, I got 2 choices in the way to work this. The first one is to actually start from here and start adjusting it brighter, okay, and darker and lighter, okay. Another choice is to double click with the mouse on that box, and it'll take only that setting, the exposure, and bring it back down to 0. So now we're at the 0 setting. See where it says 0% over onto the right side of your screen? Now I can just eyeball it and bring it to where I would like it to be. So once I bring that to where I want it to be, if this was a legitimate way to handle this, which it is not, I would come out of here. I would go to the very next one. I'm at the bottom of the screen now, and I'm moving it to the next picture. Again, it's too bright. Now I'm going to zero out, because this is the way I work. Most people probably would do this. They probably would, oh, I just need a little less exposure, so they do that, okay? I'm a little different, a little weird, but the real reason is I like to work fast, So if I automatically start back to where I want it, okay, I can take this and I can adjust this from here. So this brings up upper left-hand corner, it brings the levels all back down to normal. And rather than, so I'm going to process this real quick right in front of your eyes, okay? So what I'm going to do is you'll have to stick with me because I'm going to kind of go quickly here because this was not my intended thing. My intended thing was, and it still is, I'm going to work on a few faces for tonight, all right? But if you go, Peter, show us real quick, how do you do things? Okay, I got this picture. I applied the stuff here. I zeroed out the levels. Now I got two choices. I can either work from here and adjust the levels, bring it to where I like it and call it done, or I'll bring it back down so everything is dark, but I'm going to go into the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to go where it says raw file. I'm going to go where the plus is, and I am going to go where the brush. I'm going to use the brush. So I'm going to select something now. I'm going to select these birds. Now it can do it on its own, but I don't know what it will do. So I usually go straight and just do this. So I'll just paint these birds, and then I usually go with a little bit of weirdness. And the reason for that, you'll see in a second, is that when I change the exposure, okay, it looks a little more natural. See, I'm lowering it. All right, so let me teach you something else. Got a lot of teaching to do. I'm sorry to lay all this on you at once. All right, so any of these things that you want to know what they do, you go all the way to the left. That's what the exposure is going to look like. Then you go all the way to the right. Then you double click and it will zero it back out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm only going to raise the exposure on those two birds in the center. And that's because I want to focus on the two birds. Now, because I went up and down and to the right and to the left, this looks like natural sunlight is happening here. Well, you and I know better because you watched me do the red. See if I get rid of that? Okay. You see how I added a little bit red over here, a little red over there. I can even shoot down over there. So it kind of looks like there's a sunlight coming across here. This is a skill set. All right. I don't mean to sound so, I don't know what the word is, but it's something that you learn after a period of time. I want to target the birds, and most people are going to go, oh, I just need to get the red on the birds. I need to get the brush on the birds because that's what I want to make brighter. Okay, that's one way to do it. That's not the way Peter does it. All right, this is my way of doing it. So now what I'm going to do is as soon as I move the exposure, it gets rid of the red, and now I'm going to raise the exposure on the birds. So now in a natural setting, it looks like there's light coming from the shadow, coming across the birds, and is coming down the screen a little bit here. So this is a much more natural setting than if I actually just tried to, seclude the birds alone. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over here. I can do, while I'm selected into this brush mode, I can do anything I want. I can change the brightness, lower the brightness. I can change the black point. So what does the black point do? All the way to the left, all the way to the right. All right. So basically, I'm changing. Look at the levels in the upper left-hand corner. Watch what's happening. If I go back to 0, okay. If I go to the left, look, it pushes the blacks up. If I go all the way to the right, it shoves the blacks down. If I double click and it zeroes it out, it puts it back to where it is. I can also do the same thing with shadows. So I can bring the shadows to the left, shadows to the right. Now maybe you can't see it on yours, but it makes a big difference here. All right, so now I'm going to go back to the full raw picture, which is everything together. And now I'm going to go all the way up to the top, and I'm going to go to the one icon to the left of where I am. See how this one is black, the one that's called color adjustments in the upper right hand corner? Okay. The next one to the left is called crop. Okay. So now I'm actually going to crop this. Now because I shot this, let's see what I want to do. Okay. I'm going to bring it and put it on the thirds. Can you see the grid here of thirds? So I put one of the birds on the thirds, and I'm going to raise the other one so his eye is also on the thirds. So I have the eye here on the rule of thirds, and I have this bird's body here on the rule of thirds. All right. Then I'm going to turn off the cropping, and now I have made a cropping adjustment. Then the final thing that I would do, since I'm doing this really quick, is over on the right, I would go all the way to the bottom, and I would hit it with a little bit of sharpening. So now I brought up the sharpening a little bit, and then I will call that done. So now I would be able to go through each one and actually correct the mistakes that I made. So I'm not going to stay in this folder because I really want to work on faces, because that is usually where the weak spot is for people. And it's not a weak spot. It's people protect the information that I'm going to give you. They want to sell it to you. So I'm going to teach it to you live and in person. And you're either going to get it or you're not going to get it. All right. So now let's go back. Now this is all the pictures in this card dump of birds. Now this gentleman named Brian bought my camera, and while he was here, little by little, I started to take pictures of him. And this is with the A7C Mark II. So now you could see which pictures I've already processed. You can, first of all, you could see the red flag. That's the first hint. Okay, there's that one. This one's got a red flag. That one's got a red flag. So I'm not going to point each one with a red flag, but you could see the difference, let's say, between this one and this one. Okay. Now the camera was shot in RAW. How do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that? It says it right here. I shot it in RAW. Hello. There's your hint. It tells you. Okay. So it's not anything unique. It's actually, you know, right there in our face. So let's go to this picture. Okay, so I processed this one. It's done. Okay, and you could tell on the film strip on the bottom where I am. I'm on this picture here. Can you see my mouse? Look for the little mousey. Okay. Now, if I bring it and advance it by one, this is what it looks like raw. Okay, so we've got a processed one and a raw one. And I picked this one to process because I like the eyes were a little more open. But for right now, I'm going to show you how you take a picture from raw and make it look like this. There's no plugins. There's nothing you had to buy. Like, what's that new something, All Bloom or something like that, $250 that will do all of this stuff automatically for you. Once you know what you're doing, you're in like Flynn, okay? So we're going to take this, and the reason this looks so ugly, not the boy, not Brian, the reason this looks so ugly is this is raw. This is a dump right off of your sensor. This is the negative. So years and years and years ago, your negatives looked like this, but then before they printed it out into 4x6 prints, they actually ran it through either Kodak's image processing or Fuji's image processing, and it came out great. And you're going like, wow, I take really good pictures, you know? But no, you don't. You don't take good pictures, and most of the time I don't either. So we're going to take this, and we're going to quickly, but I'm not going to do it quickly because I could do this within seconds. Remember, when I come home with over 2,000, 4,000 files from a wedding, I'm not going to talk through a microphone to tell you what's going on. I'm actually going to fly through this real quick. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to go over to where the color adjustments are, which is this icon here. Now, I will do a little sneak peek. See this wand here? This is kind of like an automatic. It actually says, automatically enhance this photo. So if I click on it, that's what it does. But I don't want to do that. I want to do it myself, like a little kid. But I want to do it, Daddy. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to actually examine the picture, the background and everything. Now I'm going to raise up the exposure a little bit, which will raise the whole thing up because this is all set up. So I'm going to bring it up at 50 would be a half a point or a half a stop up. Okay. So I just raised this by a half a stop up. I'm over here on the right where it says exposure. If I go all the way to the right, that's what it looks like. If I go all the way to the left, that's what it looks like. If I double click, it brings it back to the center. Now remember that move because that becomes key. If you're going to fly through this or you're really going to get a skill set down, you're going to go like, oh, what does shadows do? All the way to the right, all the way to the left, then back to the center. Now, you're never going to go all the way to the right and all the way to the left, but you're going to overdo it so that you can actually see what is happening. So I'm going to raise up the exposure by a little bit, but not by a lot. Now I'm going to start looking overall. I'm going to take the shadows. I'm going to open them up a little bit by going to the right by maybe about 35%. Okay, so now we're up at 35%. Now, I'm not shooting for the number 35 over here where the mouse is. I'm already telling you what I'm already thinking. So the t-shirt is opened up a little bit. The background is opened up a little bit. The face is opened up a little bit. But poor Brian still looks ugly. Now, in real life, he doesn't look ugly like this. But the camera made it like this because it shot what the sensor saw. I would have had to tune this in better in the camera if I wanted this to come out better right off the bat. And that's why some people will shoot JPEG, but they'll be getting it, as they call it, correct straight out of the camera. So what I'm doing now is, as long as I'm in the ballpark and I'm shooting with RAW, I'm fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the brightness all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and then zero it out. So I liked it more to the right. So I'm going to raise up a little bit over here. But if I raise up a little bit, I'm raising everything. And I'll leave it like that. But normally I wouldn't do it like this. But I'm going to show you how to fix that. Okay. So now I raise this brightness 24%. All right. So now I'm going to look at the contrast. I'm going to go all the way to the left, all the way to the right, double click on it, back in the center. So I didn't quite catch that. So I'm going to do it again. All the way to the left, all the way to the right, all the way to the left, all the way to the right, back to the center. So all the way to the left was far better than all the way to the right. So what I'm going to do with the contrast is I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. All right, maybe 28, 27%, something like that. So I'm processing this. Now all of this would actually happen in 5 seconds or less by the time I would start with this picture and finish with it. All right, because that's where the skill comes in. What is it that Luis, Mr. Camera Junkie, will say? Increase your skills. Now, I've done this since 1970s, okay? So this is not something that I just jumped into now. Now, what I'm going to do is I need to fix up this face. And I need to fix it up quickly, and I need to make it look good, almost like he's a model. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go onto the right side, and Lightroom has these same features. I'll tell you when Lightroom doesn't have the feature, and this one does. And I'm going to take clarity, and I already know before I even touch it, no all the way to the right, all the way to the left. I'm going to actually go to 20% or somewhere around 20%. Okay, so, but 19 is fine. His face suddenly looks a little bit cleaner. Hey, 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 right? I'm going to do the same thing with texture. Now, I don't know if Lightroom has added texture, but this is right here next to clarity, and I'll take it. And I'm going to bring this down somewhere around 20%. I'm not even going to look at the face. I'm just going to bring it around 20% and leave it. It doesn't have to be exact. So I said 20. This one wound up at 18. This one wound up at 19. So suddenly the face, oh my God, it looks better. But now here we have something in PhotoMater that we do not have, or I don't know of it, in Lightroom. We have selective clarity, and I'm going to turn that on, and we can divide shadows, midtones, and highlights and apply that same texture and clarity again. So I'm going to start with the midtones, because guess where your facial skin will actually sit? In the midtones. And I'm going to bring this down probably about 15%, and then I'm going to bring the clarity down about 15-18%. So now I have a much clearer skin, and now we're making it look like a very nice picture. But the picture looks a little bit flat. Oh, I'm gonna do this to the highlights too, except I'm only going to go down like 10 or 12% here. All right, so this is only affecting the what's in the highlights. What it's doing is I'm reducing the clarity and the texture. I'm smoothing it, okay? But only things that are in highlights and midtones, which means the dark eyes, the hair. The program didn't touch that. So now while I'm here, I'm going to look at the vibrance. So now you just learned a big secret before I move forward. You just learned how, if you bought a program for $200, $500 that would do that, this is exactly what it would do. Look at the difference. So if I turn everything off, that's what it looks like when I shot it out of the camera. Now when I turn everything back on that I just did, that's what it looks like now. So now I'm going to come over here to the saturation and the vibrance. So all the way to the right, all the way to the left, back to 0. Vibrance, all the way to the right, all the way to the left, back to 0. So if I was working at normal speed, I would go like that, okay? And double click. I would go like that, and then I would double click. And then after a while, you just learn that I really want to add saturation here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go up a little bit, 17% on saturation, and I work these two as a team. I'm going to come back up 15, 18%, 17. Perfect. 17, 17. Then I'm going to go down here to the bottom, and I'm going to turn on the sharpening. And either I could take the default, or I can add or reduce the sharpening to make it even a little bit stronger. So I might want a little bit more than 50% here, so I'll go up to maybe 65%. Okay, and leave it like that, because that makes it pop. Now, what do I see when I see with this picture? What's wrong with it? Well, there's two things still wrong that I need to fix. One of them is with all these adjustments that I did on the right side here. It also did all these adjustments to the background. So now what I can do is let the program help me at this point. I'm going to go up in the upper right-hand corner where we have layers. So layers is something that you work on that doesn't affect your raw file, but it affects what you're seeing. They call that a layer. So if I click on the raw file here, and I click on the plus, and I add a layer. So the layer that I want to address now is the background. So we're going to do this two different ways. Number one, I'm going to let the computer pick the subject. So it picked the subject, and the background is not picked. However, I want the background. So I can do one of two things. I can click undo, or I can add another layer, and instead of picking the subject, I'm going to click the background. So now it picked the background. So now I'm going to click on the word background up all the way up at the top, all the way up, up higher, look at your eyes up at the top, and that gives me where I could see the things it was hiding again. So now if I go downward, I'm suddenly making the background darker. I'm making him pop. See how he's popping? Mary Poppins? Okay. I like that. Now to get a little bit fancy, I'm going to add another layer, but this time I'm going to use the brush. The brush means whatever I paint is what I'm going to pick. So I don't want that. I'm going to undo it by clicking Command Z. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the brush smaller, and it's the 2 bracket keys on the keyboard. If I hit to the left, it makes it smaller. If I hit the keys over and over and over to the right, it makes it bigger. Okay? Also, all the way to the right, I do have a control for brush size. See where it is here? All right, so I could do it that way, or I can go in the area where I am going to want to brush and bring it to about the size that I want. So what I want here is I want to paint his hair. And then I want to come here and I want to open up the shadows. So all the way to the right, all the way to the left, double click, goes back to the center. So I want to go to the right and see how I'm making his hair come alive, because if I leave it here at the 0 mark, it's muddy, it's black. It's like there's no hair light. Well, there is no hair light. When I took this picture, there was no hair light, honest to God. So I'm going to add a hair light. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to bring it up to about 40%, somewhere in this area. Now I made his hair actually, so the shadows have opened up in the hair. Then I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to come back to raw. Now this is what my image looks like. So what I need to do is, am I happy with what this looks like? And I would say mostly, but I think I would like the background. I'm going to click on the background layer here. I'm going to click on background to unhide what it's hiding here. And I'm actually, I need the background to be a little less. Okay, so I'm using the brightness now instead of the exposure. Okay, so you see how I muddied up the background a little bit more? And I can even muddy it up more by making the texture, bringing that down so it looks more blurred. Okay, so this is like more blur to the left, less blur to the right. Okay, that's another way to look at it. Now I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to go to the raw file. Now I'm going to come on here and when I say come on here, I'm going to come on the picture and I'm going to double click because we're very close to where I want it to be. However, he has a few zits breaking out on his face. So I'm going to go all the way to the top and see the Band-Aid there. I'm going to click on the Band-Aid. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to bring in the circle so it's about the size that I want. And remember what I taught you where most people would do this, okay, and make that disappear. I don't do that, okay. I will make an abstract. Now you can't tell that I ran the brush through there, okay. Now watch me do this quickly. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. Okay, now that's a natural mark. You usually don't take out the natural marks because people know they have them there. So I'm making something that's not uniform, not conforming. Now in this area here, he's got some rash from his shaving, okay? So I'm going to go over this a couple of times, and I made all of that disappear. Now all these white specks, that's reflecting, okay? Now I'm going to cheat, and I do this all the time, so this is not just a right now thing. See the shine on his nose here? I don't want that there. But if I just click on it, it's going to look like a dot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and I'm going to do like that. And that shine just kind of disappears. Okay, now I'm going to, okay, now he's got a little thing, but it looks like a normal thing right there. But he does have a dot there. All right, so what I'm doing is movement. Now this is something you wouldn't take out. He knows that pimple's there. He sees it every morning when he looks in the mirror. But I don't like it, okay? So I'm going to do that. And now you can't even tell that I went up and did that. And the secret to what I'm doing that you're not going to get taught 9 times out of 10 unless you're behind a paywall is all of this where I'm moving the Band-Aid tool to make it look more natural. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And I'm going to go and pick out some things that are on his face that I can see that you probably cannot see. All right, so now this is where you don't do what I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to try it. We'll both find out together. I want to see if I can get rid of the shine. So I'm going to go like that. That looks a little bit better. And then I'm going to do the opposite. And I'm going to do it again. All right. And then I'm going to try and do this over here. So you notice how I'm using abstract designs? That's because you can't follow my trail. You don't think in terms of my abstractness. Okay. So let's see. There was something else here that I didn't like and I can't find it. His t-shirt looks fairly clean. I'm going to do this real quick because you don't need to see how I clean up a t-shirt. We got a hair here. Chances are you can't see that hair. Okay. Now, if it is a line in the shirt like that, I'm going to keep a straight line. I'm not going to do the abstract there. Okay. Now, how do I get back to the full size? I'll turn this off. Now, if I double click on this, nothing happens. But I want to go back to the full size. Wait, I see a little white spot there. Okay, so I took care of that white spot. All right, you go all the way on your left side, straight up, and this is your slider for the sizing. You double click it, and it'll bring it back to fit. So the only other thing that I would add on this photo is he's too upright. You notice how his shoulder on his right or camera left is lower. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the cropping tool on the upper right hand corner. Going to click on the cropping tool. I'm not going to go anywhere in the picture. I'm going to stay outside and I'm going to turn it a little bit so that that same angle that you have with the shoulders, if you were going to draw a line across the shoulders, and then if you were going to draw a straight line 90 degrees straight up, his nose is kind of like on that line. It's not, the nose is not straight up and down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click the flag, which would be the Z, and we'll go back over here. Wait a minute. We'll click done. So now we just did this picture. We went from a look like this to a look like that. And you didn't have to buy any plugins. You didn't have to buy anything. Now you'll look at it and say, where is this off? Now, the only thing that I would like for this to be is to be a little bit sharper, but I'm not going to play with it now because you can do a lot of damage with the sharpening. So now we just did this face. We didn't use any plugins. All we used was skill, and we did this in PhotoMater, and there's no plugins done on this PhotoMater. So these are all the pictures. I just added this one. Now, this one looks a little darker than this one and this one, so apparently I was in a mood at that time. So what I could do is I can come here and I can actually bump up the brightness just a little bit, okay? And make him pop. Now I could do that on the whole picture, or I could do that only to his face. So let's undo that. Let's go back over to the layer. Let's go what looks like a face. I don't have a face here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer. And now you would normally say brush. I'm sorry, you would normally say subject. Now I would like to see them add in this area face. I don't want the t-shirt because the t-shirt is part of the subject. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the brush. I'm going to make the brush pretty large. And I'm going to paint even his ear down here. Make sure it's all in the red. And now I'm going to come over to the brightness, and I'm going to bump up the brightness. And since I bumped up the brightness, I automatically can see with my eye, I want a little more saturation and vibrance. Then we're going to come here, we'll come back down to the raw layer and say done. And now this one kind of matches this one. Actually, this looks even a little bit better than the one that I had done previously. So by looking at the one that's circled in blue, I could see that it was a raw file. I could see that this one has had processing, I call it processing, done to it, versus the one to the right. It doesn't have no, Olympic circles there. So this one's not processed. And I also made this and flagged it. So if I right click, I can copy the adjustments. If I go over here, I can paste the adjustments, and it will basically do the same thing to this one, but it will not do the cropping, and it will not do the facial features that I had done individually, because that applies strictly to this 1110 image. So the 1111 image, it's not going to apply the facial things that I did there. So that is how I actually process a film. Now we'll go over here. All right, so this is another guy, and we can click on, let's see where I can see the rings here. That means I know I processed that. So let's say I don't want to process that. I want to process this one that has no processing done to it. All right, so I'm going to do an overall look on this. I'm gonna hit the wand, automatic adjustments, and go like, no, thank you. I don't want that. It's not bad, okay, but I don't want it. It's like I want to do things myself. So I'm going to come in here. Now I'm going to do this one quicker, all right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. I'm going to make and brush the face and the neck. Actually go out a little bit. I'm going to come down in here. Then I'm going to go to the exposure. Going to raise up the exposure a little bit here. And then I'm going to go to the contrast, lower the contrast. What do I do with the texture? Down 20. Actually, 21 is my magic number. 21, clarity down 21. And then because I have additional clarity sliders in PhotoMater, I'm going to do this down 15. I'll do this one down 15. Okay, so I have smoothed his face. His face is done. Look at the way his face is. It is done, done, done. All right, I'm going to come back to the raw over here. Now, I want to lower this area here, but this is going to cause me a problem. Watch. So I'm going to come here and going to add a layer. I'm going to do the brush again. I'm going to brush all the way across. Now, when it's very red and very saturated like this, you will get problems. Watch my problems come into play. If I lower it down too much, it becomes ugly. So I'm going to have to find a way to lower everything on a more gentle way. So I'm going to lower the exposure. I'm going to lower the contrast. I'm going to probably lower the contrast a lot. I'm going to lower the brightness. And the reason is I want the face to pop out. I didn't take a picture of his shirt. I took a picture of his face. So that becomes the key point. So now I've done the t-shirt, and now I'm going to go back up to my layers. Going to go to the raw layer. The raw layer is always my base layer. It's called a raw picture. This is my raw layer. All right, so this whole thing doesn't look like it's centered very well. I'm going to bring this down, move him over just a little bit. Now I want to see. Okay, that looks right to me. This is subjective. I'm going to come over to the layer adjustments, not layer adjustments, the whole thing adjustment. I'm going to hit the sharpness. Everything's going to come sharper. I'm on my raw layer. I'm going to enlarge this. I'm going to look around for problems, and I'm going to fix them. This face is actually a pretty good face. Okay, let's make the brush a little bit smaller. I got white spots on the glasses. I don't want those in there. You can't see some of them, they're very small. Okay, so I'm looking anything in his hair right there. There's a fleck, whatever you want to call it. The beard, everything's fine in the beard. The neck is fine. Going to come out of there. I'm going to double click to restore this back. And now I just fix this one up. Okay, so we just did 2 faces, and both faces came out good. And this is how you do people. Even if they're a full frame, full size person, you still have the ability, because of the software that you decide to use, you still have the ability to get in there and fix it. So we just did a little bit of processing on PhotoMater. That is Apple's, well, they bought it actually. That is Apple's software that they bought. Okay, so let's come back over to me if we can do that. And we'll come over to a camera. There we go. Now we're back on the camera. I'm back at my seat over here. We'll put the microphone down and come over to this mic. Okay. Now let's say hi to hello and see who's in here. Scotty's in here. Happy birthday, Simon. Oh, it's Simon's birthday? Happy birthday to you, Simon. Looks like we got a couple of birthdays. How you doing, Scotty? Did you go out tonight, or were you able to stay in? By the way, good to see everybody. I hope you like this kind of a show, because if you didn't, I won't do it again. It's that simple. But I figured if I could get some expertise over to, even if somebody gets something out of it. Craig says, hi, Gregg. I haven't seen you in a while. That's what he says. How are you doing? Yep, it's been a while. Happy birthday to Simon. And Craig says, I turned 62 on Monday. See, that's the whole thing. He turned 62 on Monday, but he still feels like he is 25. The mind doesn't get older. The body does. Like, I see something wrong on the roof. I want to zip right up on the ladder and fix it. But you know, my body, it's actually dangerous for me to go up on a ladder now. So that is what happens to the body. It happens as you go along. Roy, I thought of you while I was doing this because I know you do a little bit of processing. Good day, Peter. How you doing, Roy? Love you, buddy. Love you, Craig. I'm so happy that you're here. Love you, Scotty. And Lewis is here in Canada. Hi, Peter and friends. My favorite when people say your camera takes nice pictures. Oh, thank you. My camera does it all. I don't do any adjustments. I don't do anything, right? Yeah, they say that to me too. Wow, your camera takes such nice pictures. Well, you just saw it doesn't. It takes a skill set to make those pictures or to make those videos look good. Now, this is the kind of skills that you need to learn if you're going to do video, but you wouldn't use this program because this program works for still pictures. Now, you could take, we did people. So what you saw me do was you saw me focus in on what the main focus of a picture is. And I worked everything around that main focus. It was the face of the two different people that I showed you. So their faces is what wound up being very important. So let me get back over to me. Let me close that out. Okay. Now I want to minimize that because this is very distracting for me. All right, so now we're back to my normal broadcast evening, what I normally look at. So your skills. Okay, so Lewis is saying something exactly right. It's you're the one that has to make the picture. And this is why when a bride or anybody that says, I want the raw files, I normally don't give the raw files, and that's because the raw files are not finished. They're actually a screen dump of the camera, where if you actually look at the LCD, so if I take a picture of this now, this camera is set to raw. If I take a picture now and I look at it on the LCD, it's going to automatically apply all the settings, like the standard color profile, the sharpness, what else do you do in there? Contrast, exposure, all that actually gets put onto the LCD when you look at the back. So you'll take a picture and you'll look at it and you go, actually that came out pretty nice. To be honest with you, it came out pretty nice. Then you bring it home and you put it in your computer and it's like, what happened to that picture? Well, what you're seeing when you see the raw file is you're seeing a dump right off of your sensor onto your card. And it doesn't include all those settings that were set in the camera for the raw. That's why if you shoot in RAW plus JPEG, you will see the difference between the RAW and the JPEG. I don't shoot with RAW plus JPEG anymore, and the reason for that is it just takes up a lot of space that I don't need to be taken up. So what I do is I shoot from RAW, and I know how the end picture is supposed to look, and I don't give the RAW files out because it can actually damage my reputation, because somebody can post that and say, look at what Peter took, and he calls himself a professional photographer. Well, it's not finished. It's like doing an outline of a painting and all you see is the charcoal outlines of what you intend on filling in, and they go, this artist is no good. Well, the picture isn't finished. Same thing in the camera. When you're shooting raw, the picture isn't finished. So I go through them real quick, and I either give them a choice of PNG, TIFF, T-I-F-F, or PSD files, and tell them that is the files that my camera has given me for this picture. I'm being attacked by a plant. Okay, so that's why I don't give the raw files. It's not a completed, finished picture, number one. And the people that have it don't know how to finish it. They don't know how to do what I just showed you. And there's a lot more that I didn't show you that will just take and accelerate the picture into being a work of art. And that's what we're trying to do when we take pictures. We don't want snapshots. You could take snapshots with your phone, but the same thing you could do with your pictures from your phone, you could do that with these images too. Pop them right into PhotoMater or Lightroom or Photos or whatever is the software that you use in Windows, and fix up your pictures. Now the truth is, very rarely, maybe 4 or 5 times, have I been asked for the raw pictures, and that's usually from an aggressive groom that it's his wedding. He wants the pictures. He wants to finish them himself. So that's when I have to say, I shoot them in TIFF, because that's the intended output is TIFF, T-I-F-F. And I will give them the TIFF and never even acknowledge that the raw actually exists, because the raw technically doesn't exist for anyone except me. You could shoot a picture, what they call a silhouette, where it's backlit, but unless you finish that picture, where am I? Unless you finish that picture in your software, it might look like a half-ass backlit silhouette. You have to finish it in your processor. That is the completed finished picture. So, yeah, Lewis is making something good. Craig is going, nice work, Peter. PhotoMater is the free software from Apple, or is there a small fee? I think it's $129, and I think it's also a subscription, but you can, like in the early days of Lightroom, you could buy it. And I think I paid for mine $79 because after I downloaded the trial, they kept, if you buy it now, $79 because it's normally $129. So I eventually got to that point. So PhotoMater is not free. Now, a lot of what I just did, not all of it, but I would say 50%, maybe a little more, you can actually do in the free version of Photos. So you can adjust the colors and stuff like that. Now, I don't know if Photos will give you layers. Layers for me is one of the keys. I learned that in Lightroom. And up until a month and a half, Lightroom was my software of choice. Now, I'm forcing myself to use PhotoMater. I have found very, very little that I missed from Lightroom. So when Lightroom is gone, c'est la vie, is no monthly charge no more. I don't like this monthly charge. They get you 100 different companies, get a little bite you there, here, and there. If they could do that with the food, I can lose weight. But they nip away at your wallet. So I bought this. I also bought Final Cut Pro in 2017. And they've never charged for an upgrade or an update since then. Apple has been, it's an Apple software program. They have been updating it. Once you buy it, you own it. And PhotoMater was purchased along with PixelMater, but it's PhotoMater is the one you want, not Pixel. PixelMater is more like Photoshop. It won't do what I just showed you as easily, and it won't go forward and backward pictures for you to fly through them. See, the flying through the pictures is really, really key for me. When you have a few thousand pictures to deal with, you cannot doing the onesie, twosie routine. You have to copy the adjustments from this picture. Wait, these three are very similar, so I'll paste the adjustments from here for the next 12 pictures, and then I'll go through those 12, pick the one that's good, flag it red. And you know what causes me to not flag? My biggest weakness in photography is using too slow of a shutter speed and the picture's not sharp. And that's why I have a really keen interest. I don't have the trial, and I'm not buying it. It's too expensive, of a program called Topaz, T-O-P-E-Z or T-O-P-A-Z, Topaz. It will take an unsharpened, not badly unsharpened, but a little bit out of focus, and it'll bring it in as if you focus properly. I want to see that happen on my pictures. I want to see it in my own computer. So the reason I don't have the trial is because I'm going to want it. I'm going to want it bad. And I don't have a credit card. I can't buy it. So we just leave it alone. But they do have a software that will sharpen a picture that is a little bit out of focus. And boy, when I saw that, yes sirree, that's what I wanted. Okay, so Craig, nice work. Peter, thank you. Scotty, I already read his. Is PhotoMater free? Photos is free in Apple. PhotoMater is purchased. I bought mine for $79.99, 80 bucks. I don't know if you can get it at that price still. I know that the regular price is $129. Even at $129, it might have taken me a little longer, but I would have bought it. Because I can't be on somebody else's back, because when they end my Photoshop, it's done. All right. Hey, Randy, you're up. Good boy. He's up and about. He went to the dentist and all that kind of stuff. Great demonstration. I hope I did a good job. When I look back at it, the key thing that I needed to fix, and I think I fixed it, is to make a little bit smaller so you could see everything on the outlying areas, because there's icons on the upper right and the bottom where the intensity slider is that 2 weeks ago when I did this, or whenever it was, 3 weeks ago, you couldn't see that. I was talking about it, but you couldn't see it. And you guys were very kind. You didn't say, we can't see it, we can't see it. So it actually is a good thing. Norm, excellent tutorial. I thought about you because not only is PhotoMater a program you can buy, but Nikon gives you one called NX Studio because Norm shoots heavy Nikon, and it's free. It comes with the camera. However, you have to work in their own environment. So since I have Sony, Lumix, Nikon, what else do I have? Olympus, a variety Canon. I want something that's open to all the files. And the NX Studio is not. As a matter of fact, NX Studio, I don't even know if they've added the DNG file format ability to support it or not. So Craig is talking to Scotty. It appears PhotoMater ranges from $7.99 per month to $120 lifetime. So when it was a month and a half ago, it was $129 lifetime. But after I downloaded it, they offered me by email, you know, bombarding with the marketing, $79.95. Buy it now. Come on, Peter. Do it. Come on. Give us your cash. Open that wallet. Open that wallet, fat boy. I think of John Bonet when I say that. He's a comedian. So, Norm, when I shoot JPEG, I set the color space to Adobe RGB. Much better for the magazine. Oh, yeah, for magazine prints? Absolutely. Because the magazine's not RGB. A magazine, I'm sorry, the magazine's not the magazine's not RGB. It is Adobe RGB and not sRGB. Okay? If I just read the rest of your thing, you would tell me there, and I wouldn't have to be hunting for words. Hey, Mookie, love you, buddy. Love you, Norm. Love you, Greg. Want to make sure I send love to everybody, especially since we've had a number of funerals in the last couple of weeks. It makes me more conscious of the people that are around me that I love. Thanks for the insights, Peter. I don't know if you got anything out of this, Mookie, okay? If you didn't, we just spent some time together. So thank you for being here with me. I appreciate it. What's the saying? Hit the subscribe. You don't have to. And like. Well, you should like, because the like is for me personally. It says, good boy, Peter. What is that, attaboy thing? Attaboy, Peter. So that's what the like button does. So Lewis is saying hi to Randy. Hi, Norm and friends. Hi, Mookie. Happy birthday, Simon. I'm going to have to sing happy birthday to Simon. He's probably sleeping. We are eating dinner tonight. Love you all. Mookie says, good to see you, Lewis. Craig said, is there a good program for converting color images to monochrome with extended dynamic range to create color contrast like a true monochrome camera sensor can generate? Well, the color one is actually capturing everything that a monochrome one would do. So it's up to you. I should have turned one to black and white. They have a couple of settings for that, and we could have seen what it does together. And if we do that again, remind me so that I can show it to you and you can see it live. Live. So no, outside of Lightroom, which is king of the hill, now you got PhotoMater. They just bought it, I would say, in the last year or so. So they haven't even revamped the program. What we do not want to happen is we do not want them to go to subscription rate. So having paid the lifetime should stay lifetime. And I think Canon, what's their names? Apple will be true to their word. Philip Vastopoulos, Tikanete Kipera. Thanks for the info, Peter. Oh, you're welcome. It's my joy. Love you, buddy. Thank you for being here. What shutter do I need, Peter? Well, the shutter comes built into the camera. You can't just go buy a separate shutter. So I wouldn't go shopping for a shutter. It's the whole camera. It even comes with f-stops where you can adjust the f-stops. It comes with shutters. So you can adjust your shutter. A shutter speed is probably what he's talking about. So I have a habit from my old Canon and Nikon days where I shoot a lot of P in the P mode. Not P like when you go to the bathroom and you hit the toilet. No, that's not the P I'm talking about. And on most cameras, you can tell it what the slowest shutter speed is that you want it to go to. So that I need to put it into my quick menu, because when I'm shooting P, I would like it, I don't want it to go under 125th of a second. I want it to start raising the ISO at that point. So what happens is it'll keep going lower and leave the ISO alone. But I want it to hit a floor of 125th of a second, not 25, but 125. And when it hits that, instead of needing to go lower, it starts to raise the ISO. So I would rather deal with a noisy image that's in focus than a blurry image that is shot with the proper exposure on the shutter. So that is what I like to use. Now, what you could do, Lewis is talking about 250 and so on. My flash can't sync faster than 200th. That's everybody. It's only one camera that you can use in a 35 millimeter format that you can go faster, and that is a camera that's got global shutter. Which camera is that? Is the Sony A9 Mark III. Has got the global shutter. So that global shutter will allow you to sync with your flash at any speed. That wasn't a typo. A global shutter will shoot and sync your flash at any speed. Can't be indefinite, okay? So I'm sure there's a limitation somewhere. I don't know where it is. It's not anywhere where it would be in my my gear bag, okay? So Lewis is going to eat. Our newspaper press, actually any press, business cards, postcards, prints that are not done in the sRGB color space. It's all in the CMYK. So I did a birthday banner poster for someone, 20 by 30, and that poster banner had to be exported out of my computer in CMYK. So when I say CMYK, RGB, sRGB, these are ways that the computer is handling and dealing with colors and putting them into a file so that the next computer that's going to use that file will recognize that it's that layout of color, like CMYK, and not another layout of color like sRGB. And that makes it important in the computer world, but not in the you and me world. In the you and me world, we deal with what we have to deal with. All right, guys, that is our hour. We've actually gone after the hour. I hope you had fun. I enjoyed doing that. I was a little bit nervous at the beginning. I have to tell you that. And the reason that I was is because I didn't know what could go wrong. I don't normally get in front of the computer and play and actually, fix the things. So what I want to do is, since it's Simon's birthday, I do want to sing happy birthday to him. So I need to do a couple of setting changes right off the bat. I believe they're talking about Simon, Ordinary Filmmaker. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Simon in Canada. Ordinary Filmmaker, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to my buddy. Happy birthday to my buddy. Happy birthday, dear Simon. Happy birthday to you. Anybody else's birthday? Speak up now, because we're going off the air. This broadcast be over until next week. Yes, it be over. Okay. Yeah, I turned off my little church. All right, guys, that is our show for the week. And God willing, and the bridge is not up, I will see you next Friday night. God's blessings be on each and every one of you. Let's double that, okay? Because we are going through some trying times, and different people are getting hit by different things, and sometimes they're surprises, okay? So Mookie is saying happy birthday to Simon and have a great week and stay cool. Yeah, I got my fan on here. Actually, you know what? Thanks for reminding me. The fan actually feels pretty good. I just don't like it to the side. It's making this side of my face cool and this side is not. I prefer that like I'm out in a car or on a boat and the wind is coming and blowing in my face. We'll fix it. I got the fan for $20. It was Prime. So Mookie is taking us out. Normally it's Randy, but my guess is Randy has fallen asleep. So God willing, and the bridge isn't up, and my goal is the sky and not the grave. So that is my goal. All right, guys, and you can look in the, what do you call that thing down below? I made a t-shirt that says, my goal is the sky and not the grave. And boy, I need to keep that in the front of my mind, especially if you feel depressed or anything. All right, so from Mookie and me to you guys, have a great week. I will see you. Gregg, it's your birthday too? Oh, well, I can't just ignore Gregg. So let me fix this up. Let me call you sweetheart. I'm in love with you. Happy birthday to Gregg. Happy birthday Monday to Gregg. Happy birthday all week long to fantastic Gregg. I love you, dear Gregg. How old are you now? Hey, old man. How old are you now? Everybody say happy birthday to Gregg. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Gregg, Simon, and everybody else. Happy birthday. We all love you. Okay, guys, birthdays are exciting. You don't just celebrate them on one day. You do the whole freaking week. So Simon is on, no, I don't know what day Simon's is, but I know Craig's is, he said, back up a little bit, it was on Monday. So we get that hint. So all next week, he gets ice cream and cakey. Cakey. C-A-K-E. Cakey. Okay. Happy birthday, Gregg. I love you, buddy. You've been around for so long. I appreciate you. I appreciate you that much. All right. I think I'm ready to sign off on the show now. For real. Let me make sure I turned off my church. And that we are still running. God bless you guys. I love you a lot. I pray God's protection on you and prosperity and health. And just have a good time. Later, Gator. Bye.